Amid reports that tens of millions more people have been pushed into hunger by high food prices, leaders of the world's major industrialized nations this week expressed concern over the steep rise in food prices. The Group of Eight summit pledged $10 billion in food aid to those suffering most. They say there is a need for increased agriculture productivity. British Prime Minister Gordon Brown emphasized eliminating government policies that discourage production.
And we've got to have a global solution to what's a global problem.
And the leaders called for countries with sufficient food stocks to make available a part of their surplus for countries in need. Japan agreed to release part of its rice stockpile. Jack Caldwell, an agriculture analyst with the Center for American Progress, says other major rice-producing countries such as India, Vietnam, and China have been restricting exports of their stockpiles.
If they were to release those stockpiles, even marginally, over the short term, that would provide, would send a sort of an important signal to the market that the prices should stabilize, it would bring the prices down, and it would provide some short-term relief.
Most of the major industrialized nations do not have large grain reserves. At the G-8 summit, World Bank President Robert Zoellick advocated building an international network of food stockpiles.
I believe this summit can make an important start here and now to focus on the needs of the most vulnerable as we boost production of food and fuel over the medium and long term.
Under the proposed system, each member state of the G8 will be required to store specific amounts of grain and release them into the market in a coordinated effort to stabilize grain prices when necessary. Caldwell says if implemented correctly, these stockpiles could help assure adequate food supply.
If the governments have adequate stockpiles, they can release them at sort of a question of extremes. They could release them at a moderate level and therefore stabilize the system. But it's when they sort of overreact and panic, if you will, and cause, export bans on releasing any of the food, then that's when the whole system sort of becomes out of whack.
He says these stockpiles could prevent volatility in the market without inhibiting production. Brian Padden, VOA News.